Hello and welcome to the METAcast. This is episode 8. I am your host, Michael. Joining me this month is David.
Hello.
And Alistair.
Yo.
And
David, tell me you've seen Step Brothers.
I have to say Step Brothers.
Oh my god.
I'm a failure of a human being.
this
Again.
God damn it.
I wasn't told that there was homework. If someone had told me there was homework, I probably wouldn't have done it.
You probably wouldn't have. I gave you Keanu Reeves homework every week and you didn't watch your Keanu Reeves movies.
I watched the first one that you told me to watch.
Yeah, I know, but we were supposed to do like one a week to the point where like by the end of
I'd actually
Alice,
seen all of them.
you would have seen John Wick. That was what it was working up to. Like every decent Keanu Reeves movie in chronological order until John Wick, so we could talk about John Wick.
Yeah, I only managed Parenthood.
Yeah, you didn't even get up.
I did. Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Adventure.
Yes, you did Bill and Ted and Parenthood. I think it went Bill and Ted, then Parenthood.
I believe so. Yes.
And then you didn't watch Point Break.
No.
And then there was like Speed. Have you seen like someone's got a Speed poster, but it's actually like it looks like the real Speed poster, but it says the bus that couldn't slow down instead of Speed? I think it was called The Bus That Couldn't Slow Down.
We should do a movie club and watch one movie a month and talk about it.
Yeah, I would love doing that. That would be fun.
Even like as a segment, I like
for
that.
The
That's
podcast sort of thing.
Seems like a nice low level.
Amongst
goal.
But of course, we'd watch other movies. You can.
No, I know, but I'm just like to say let's watch one specific movie a month. I think even I could handle that.
Yeah, but then it's fun, like because if people are listening, then they're like, "Oh, I know what movie they're going to watch, and I can watch it ahead of time."
Yeah, we can say it.
You say it the previous one. You said like next episode we're going to talk about this movie, and then that lets them watch it. Yeah, I love that they do that with like game club stuff now as well and stuff. It's really cool.
Let's do this so that we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they just go, yeah, we're going to talk about this game, but we're not going to like, it'll be at the end of the episode. We're going to tell you what game we're going to be playing, and then we're going to just fully discuss it and not worry about any spoilers or anything.
I like that.
It's a cool way. But like, we do sort of go, oh, we're going to talk about spoilers for this movie anyway. But it would be fun to go.
You got to talk about the spoilers. I mean,
yeah,
you're not going to check yourself
before you
beep the entire episode.
Check yourself before you spoil yourself. What was I going to say? Have you listened to GameScoop Hour where they do video game 20 questions?
No.
It's just like 20 questions where you can, you've got 20 questions that are, you can ask yes or no answers to, but they've got to figure out a video game.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
Like viewers email in like video games. They're like, you should do this for 20 questions. And then Damo will pick one. And then he'll be like, have all the stats there on like a piece of paper. And they'll ask like, oh, was this game released before like, they have like one like January 1st, 1990. And then it's like yes or no. So then they know whether it's like pre or post a certain generation and stuff. And they're like, was it on like a video game was it on a cartridge, or was it a first party game? Was it on a Sony platform? And they're like, was it a sports game? Was it a platform? And they like narrow it down. And almost every single time they get it. And sometimes it's like really obvious. And it's like a big game that they're like totally missing. Like I think one time it was like Final Fantasy 7 and they couldn't get it. And I was like, it's going to be Final Fantasy 7. But yeah, that's a fun thing to do as well.
Like Alakazam or whatever that website is.
But like doing a movie club isn't like ripping off another podcast because anyone that's like doing that, it's just like, it's just
book club.
It's a book club thing.
Yeah. A legitimate use of time and fun. Good to have a discussion. Like V for Vendetta. It was V for Vendetta Day yesterday.
Oh, I remember the 5th of November. The gunpowder treason and plot. I see no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
Indeed. That's the Guy Fawkes rhyme, poem?
Yeah, rhyme, I guess. What are we doing this episode? It's a special episode because it's a wedding podcast. Woo!
Ding, 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 ding. I don't know what wedding bells sound like.
Da, da, da,
that's right.
No, they're like air horns. They're just like the wedding. So we are like 12 hours before I'm getting married.
Ooh, it is. It is like 12 hours before
this is going to air like 24 hours after I get married.
I like what you're going to be spending your first married night doing. You're going to be editing this, aren't you?
Yep.
But I'm not going to bother editing any of it. It's just going to go up.
It's going to be raw.
We do it live. We do it fucking live.
That's right. So we're not doing a scoreboard this week because I turned off my computer before I pulled up the scoreboard to look at it.
Don't admit to that.
Well, it's because I'm going to be taking a break from uploading videos. I'm going to take a month off.
Month off.
That's 4 weeks. Just to like...
So it's not a calendar month.
No.
Okay.
No, specifically 4 weeks.
More like a tax month.
Yeah. So, yeah. Probably the main reason is because I'm getting married. I'm having a few weeks off and having a little mini holiday. But then also...
Haven't heard of scheduling.
What do you mean?
Like schedule the release. Like, you don't need to be there.
No, well, I was getting to the other reason before you cut me off. That I am running out of episodes, so I thought it would be good to just take a break. We've been doing it. I've been putting up episodes. The YouTube channel has been live for 8 months now.
A decent chunk
Not
of time.
bad. Not bad at all. So I thought 1 month off is all right, and we can record some stuff in the meantime, and then we'll like be stocked up on footage again,
On fresh.
on content, on hot tracks and fresh beats. So yeah, that's what's happening. Wedding, woo!
So
Like nervous, excited. It's
nervous,
going to be
excited?
interesting.
It's in the final countdown.
Yeah. You guys are all invited. Otherwise, that would make this a very awkward podcast.
No, that's good.
You're getting married tomorrow. We're not going to. We're not going to
that's-
see that.
That worked out well, didn't it?
Yeah. You guys did know before I actually got you on the podcast. This isn't a spur of the moment thing.
It's like, oh, come have a sleepover. We'll do a podcast.
Yeah, like no, I just pictured it as a slumber party. You didn't know that it was a pre-wedding slumber party.
Yeah. You've actually got suits made for us.
Pajama suits.
Yes.
I wish that was true.
The pajama wedding. That'd be fun.
That's a good theme.
Sounds comfy.
Rapidly running out of themes for weddings, so you got to think of like bizarre ones.
Johnson and Friends. It's a giant. I think this is a good wedding theme. It's a giant bedroom, and we're all stuffed toys.
Ooh, is that like that's a bit getting into furry territory?
Well, there's
probably been furry weddings.
There would have to have been furry weddings. If there's been Star Trek weddings, there would have to be furry weddings.
Has there been like they probably had like a full Star Trek in Klingon wedding, like full?
Many.
I would love to. I would
in the
actually love to see
Klingon
that.
language.
And they've like restored.
I feel like furry weddings aren't. They're like genres. When you go to movie genres, it's like fantasy and sci-fi isn't really a movie genre. It's a setting. So a furry wedding isn't really like a themed wedding. They have it's a furry wedding, but then they also have a theme.
Oh, is it a bit like saying?
I'm sure they've had like furry Star Trek weddings where they're furries dressed up in Star Trek uniforms getting married.
Whoa,
man!
So it's like talking about the difference between races getting married and having like a themed, like a Japanese style wedding. Or have I just really gone off track with this?
No, that's not the metaphor I was trying to make. I'm going to stick it with my thing where it's like
it's furries dressed in Star Trek.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, it's a fantasy movie, and it's like, yeah, but what genre is it? Is it a fantasy horror? Is it a fantasy drama? Is it a fantasy
sci-fi?
Fantasy comedy? Like really, that like the fantasy sci-fi thing is just a like when you go, it's a period film. That's just the time period that it's set.
Is it a horror period film? Is it a dramatic period film?
So a furry wedding is like, it's a furry wedding. They're furries, but what's the theme to that furry wedding?
Well, that's making me think.
Yeah.
What theme would you have for a furry wedding? Johnson and Friends.
Johnson and Friends, exactly. Yeah. That's why we're not doing Johnson and Friends. We're doing a kind of normal wedding, a very small wedding.
A miniature wedding.
It's a mini wedding, if you will. And yeah, it's just a couple of friends. 7 of us.
That's not a couple. That's several.
Several.
Okay, fine. Jeez,
it's more than a few.
Getting all literal with the couple is a 2 and a few is a 3 and several is more than 3. Jeez, yeah. I know the rules. I just wasn't being that serious about it. Okay.
It's important.
It's 11 o'clock at night.
It's less than 12 hours until the knot is
I didn't think
tied.
I was going to be like accused of bad vernacular.
It wasn't an accusation. It was a statement.
It was just a straight up correction.
I like the tying the hand thing. So where did that come from?
That's called a Celtic knot. I think no, it's not called a Celtic knot. It's called a hand binding ceremony. And that was sort of like a thing. We've got like a wedding celebrant person that just does the ceremony because it's not religious or anything. We bought our rings a couple of months ago, and whenever like they arrived after we ordered them, we just wore them because we didn't want to wait. So we're not doing like an actual ring putting on ceremony for the wedding. And so our celebrant just emailed us a bunch of like different things that she can do and say and stuff. And the hand binding thing was in there. And I was like, that's like in Braveheart. That's cool.
So and everyone else is going to be like, oh, that's like in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think they sort of do it in Game of Thrones.
I feel like I've seen it in something else. Yeah,
it's a pretty like old school thing that's been around since medieval times. And Celtic things. And a couple of different cultures do it. And I was like, that's a cool thing. That sounds good that I'm not. Because the rest of it's pretty bare bones that you guys will see when it happens. It's sort of funny because the binding the hands, they're kind of like vows. And we both say like...
Well, you're doing the vows while you bind the hands, aren't you?
No. So there are actual vows, and then there are the kind of basically also vows that happens in the hand binding.
Oh, I've combined them in my memory.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you can't just be like, oh, well, doesn't these vows that we do for the hand binding count as the vows? And it's like, no, legally, we need to do the vows like this because
I thought you could write your own vows, though. I thought that was a thing.
You can, but that's kind of just it's.
At some point, you've got to whisper.
You do the vows, and then you do the I do's. Where with the hand binding, you the person says, "Oh, will you two la 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 la," and then we both say we will at the same time, and then you like have this piece of fabric over your hands, and you like cross the fabric over each time, and that person asks like 4 questions, and then you say we will as it happens, and there's something about that compared to just doing the vows and then saying I do or whatever that's different. I don't know.
Are vows like a legal, like do you have to do vows or something like that?
Yeah, they're legally required for the wedding.
Really?
Because originally when I proposed to Shaylee, I just was like, let's get married tomorrow. Because fuck it, because we both didn't want to do a big wedding. We just wanted to be married. So we were like, yeah, let's get married tomorrow. Yeah, sweet, awesome. And then we like looked up Australian marriage laws and we're like, yeah, so we have to like send this paperwork off like 30 days before we're getting married with like it's like a marriage intention where it's like we intend to get married.
Bastards, they do not want Vegas weddings happening.
So yeah, like the whole eloping shotgun wedding Vegas thing is only in Vegas, and you really can't do it anywhere else
in the great country that we live in.
Yeah, because when we did a rehearsal, and because you two are the only blokes that I have here coming, the only 2 guys that are coming to it. She was like, oh, you know, we'll have like, you guys will stand here like you do at a wedding, and then we'll have like the best man and the maid of honor standing next to them, and then the rest of the people will like be watching. And I was like, oh, we don't have like a best man or a maid of honor. So like they can all just stand there. And she's like, oh no, legally the witnesses need to be standing next to the bride and groom so that they're close enough to hear. They verbally need to hear it. And I was like, everyone's going to be there to hear it. But it's like, no, they actually have to be standing there for the ceremony so that when they sign as a witness that it like, is all legally binding. And I was like, okay, whatever, fuck it, we'll do it that way.
Even though like as if you're going to be standing there as one of the witnesses and be like, sorry, I actually misheard.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, this is my bad ear.
hang on, I'm just gonna turn around. I'm just gonna face the other way. I'll hear you better then.
Lovely. Yeah, so it's like with 7 people, you're all standing pretty darn close. And I've been to an actual wedding, and we were standing pretty far away, and I heard every word of it. So it's a bit funny, but whatever.
That was acoustics, though.
That's true. It was in a chapel.
Yeah, chapels have acoustics.
We don't have acoustics because we're not doing it in a chapel because
it's all electric.
Mop. Yeah, we don't want to get married in some religious building that's done because we don't.
Is the religious building done?
We don't like that shit.
Don't like that shit.
We find it dumb. That's all that matters.
Incapable of speech. That's the important thing.
Yes.
Once the walls start talking to you, you know that something's wrong.
That's right. Taking it to the wrong meaning of that word.
Yeah, I always do it.
I could say that churches are retarded. Would that help? Would that clarify it better for you?
They're
Can't say that
slow,
word.
which is arguably true. Sorry.
Yeah, cool.
Destroyed.
How are you guys feeling? You pumped? You psyched? You
Yeah.
indifferent?
Pumped.
I said yes.
Yeah, the energy is awesome.
More
That's what I find. It's like it's sort of like I'm excited as well, but it's not like I'm all like shaky, crazy excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But it's like the calm before the storm sort of thing. That's why I say nervous excitement. Where it's
I think
like,
it's good that it's a nice scale. It's not like the normal pre-wedding jitters where it's like going to see like 300 people who I haven't seen in years, and they're all going to come up to me and go, "I remember when you were like this high, and we used to change you on my laundry." And you're like,
and you're like, I don't want you here.
you don't have to
Random
go through
person that changed my diaper once, and that's the only reason why they're not a relative.
That it happened once.
They're just a friend of a friend that knew me when I was like, 6 months old, and they get invited to the wedding.
Oh, well, you need to invite them because they changed your nappy that time.
Because the other friend of a friend from the other side of the family is also coming. Yeah. So if those friends of a friends are coming, you have to invite the rest of the friends of the friends.
It's just the law.
And that's how you get weddings with 300 people.
Yes. It's the only way.
Instead of 7 people.
7. It's neat.
It's all there is.
It's God's number.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Did you explain to me this? I think I didn't know it, and I think you explained this already on a Let's Play.
The 777-666 thing.
Yep.
4 corners of the earth, and I can't remember where the 3 comes from that gets you up to 7.
Yeah. 777 casino slot machine.
Yes.
God's number.
God's number.
Jackpot.
Indeed.
Jackpot. Random side story. I was recording waste at work, and I was weighing some of the produce to record it, and it was 6.66 kilos heavy, and I was like, burn it.
What was that? Devil fruit?
Devil's fruit. Yep.
Yep.
That's it. Every single devil's fruit.
That's a fruit, isn't it?
Yep.
It always weighs that much.
Little known fact that one devil's fruit actually weighs 6.66 kilos every time.
No, regardless of mass.
Regardless of it's more like if it doesn't weigh that much, it's no longer categorized as a devil's fruit. It actually changes fruit if it isn't the right weight.
Little known fact.
Very little known
That
fact.
must exist, because how else do you get devil's fruit cake?
That's right. Yes. You just logic to that fruit into existence.
Bam!
But then you've got stupid things like red velvet cake, which is just like
you're gonna say it's just a cake dyed red. You're gonna complain that it shouldn't be charged more for. What are you, a character in Orange Is the New Black?
No. I'm not complaining about the price of it. I'm just complaining about that's a type of cake.
What's wrong with that being a type of cake?
Because it tastes exactly the same as a regular cake. It's just they just make it a different color.
So
it's stupid.
Lots of things are named despite tasting the same as something else.
Give me an example.
Now that I've said that,
you can't think of a single thing?
I'm in a corner. I'm going to be honest.
Boom.
I'm in a corner.
Called you on that shit.
Chocolate mud cake is just a chocolate cake.
There is a difference between a chocolate cake and a mud cake.
There's a difference between a chocolate cake and a red velvet cake. It's red food dye.
Yeah, that's the red food dye. The difference between a regular chocolate cake and a mud cake is the richness. There's actually a flavor difference. And
the red velvet cake is richer than your average run-of-the-mill packet of Dove instant chocolate cake mix.
Dove instant... What? Dove make moisturizer?
No, there's a Dove bakery brand.
Why don't you go for one of the more commercial ones so that the listeners can...
Because it's the only one I could think of. It's like a green box and I can picture it in my head.
I can only think of red boxes when it comes to cake mix.
But what company is that, though?
Sara Lee? Do they do cake mix as well as?
Yeah. No, yeah, they do box pre-bake stuff.
Yeah.
Pre-bake stuff, do they do?
They're ready to bake mixtures where you just chuck it in and add water or whatever and mix it, and then you put it in a pan.
Yeah.
There's another word as well. Is it white wings?
Oh, white wings. Yep, that's familiar. That's a thing.
I want to say Betty Crocker, but I don't know what that is.
Isn't that a person?
Yeah, but I've got no confidence in what that is.
Is it a thing? Is it a person? Is it a concept? Is it a belief structure? There's probably a religion.
I don't know. One of you guys could look it up on your phone.
No.
While I've had.
Yeah, it's all the way over there.
It's in my pocket, which
It's
is
charging.
I'm sitting down. That's awkward.
Mine's not on silent, but I'm not expecting any calls.
Yeah, but you're breaking the cardinal rule of podcasting.
Yeah, well, it's fixed now, so it's all good. Don't worry, guys. I fixed it.
Thank you. It was frightening for a little while there.
But yeah, cool beans. Got anything else to talk about?
Have you watched? I haven't, but have you? Anyway, you two watched the newest Star Wars trailer?
Yes.
I didn't watch.
Watch it.
No.
Trust me, it doesn't give away. It is just as much a teaser trailer as the other ones.
Nah, well,
It's so good.
I can wait.
They're being such teasers.
If you can wait, you can wait. But that is a excellent trailer. They've done an excellent job marketing that movie, advertising it. There's like none of those trailers.
It barely needed like any advertising or anything marketing.
No, but
Just
like,
go, oh look, we're doing another Star Wars film, and it's not directed by that same person.
Yeah, true. But like there is a huge amount of hype when the trailer releases compared to no trailers. Like it might not releasing no trailers whatsoever might cause a bit of extra hype when it actually comes to the movie's release, but
but it's more likely to let people down
from like week to week, month to month. When they're releasing trailers, like it like ramps up every time. Yeah, it is. It's
edging the audience.
It is. It's true.
Yeah.
Even though you wanted to say that like as like it's like a jokingly thing. It kind of is.
Oh, I didn't want to say it as a jokingly thing. It is like edging the audience. Although I don't know if edging is normally something done to someone else.
I don't know. I don't understand it well enough.
Concepts of the subculture.
I think we'll swerve away from edging and get back into Star Wars. Yeah, no, that movie looks good. I think they've done a clever job of making the cute mascot of the movie a droid and not try and because like Jar Jar Binks is like the Chewbacca of the prequels. And like
except shit.
But yeah, no, but shit.
Well, without saying Jar Jar Binks equals shit, yes.
Yes. But yeah, so it like Chewie's in these new ones as well, but then it's also like, well, we're gonna have a new cute thing. Let's put this droid because everybody fucking loves it because it's amazing.
That's true.
Well, like apparently the Ewoks were hated quite a bit when Jedi originally came out.
Understandably.
And it apparently is just like they say like you can tell what age you were when you saw Star Wars if you like Ewoks or don't like the Ewoks, because like if you were a kid when Jedi came out, like the kids
or you
loved,
at least first saw it.
Yeah, kids loved when you first saw it when you were a kid, kids loved the Ewoks, but like if you're an adult when you saw Jedi, the Ewoks are dumb.
Yeah, I can understand that, unfortunately, because I like Ewoks.
No, I think the Ewoks are fine. I think they're fine. I don't think they're Jar Jar Binks, but like they're not as bad as Jar Jar, but like we were just kids, so it didn't matter. Like I was a kid when I saw like the prequel trilogy in the cinema as well, but Jar Jar
didn't matter when I first saw Phantom Menace. He mattered the next time I saw Phantom Menace.
By the time I saw by the time I next saw Phantom Menace, or by the time I saw the Clone Wars, it was just
he'd outstayed as well.
It was just like, nah, this is bad.
Have you seen the real life shot of what the guy, like the Jar Jar Binks actor? It's like him with like
things strapped
to his head. Thing, yeah. Looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just a bad idea. Really bad idea. I saw some fan theory that it was like, oh, Jar Jar was actually like a Jedi, or like he had the Force and he was like, they were on that planet specifically to like alter the Force energy from that planet to do the something, blah blah blah. I had this like big long explanation of like why Jar Jar is this really important character to the prequel trilogy, and I was just like,
don't try and fix it. Just forget it.
Have you guys seen Fanboys?
No, what's that?
That is a movie where they're huge Star Wars fans. It's set when Phantom Menace hasn't come out yet, and one of them is sick, and they're trying to break into Lucasfilm so they can see Phantom Menace before that guy dies. And Seth Rogen's in it, and he's like, oh, he's like supposed to be some massive Star Wars fan, and he's like, check out this tattoo I got from the new movie that no one's seen yet. And he's like, this new character is going to be the shit, and he's got this huge tattoo of Jar Jar Binks on his back. He's going to be the hot new shit, and it's like, that's hilarious. But speaking of that, that actually happened in real life, where a guy was had some very rare form of cancer, and he was a massive Star Wars fan, and they did like a Twitter campaign for him to see the movie early, and J.J. Abrams was like, yeah, let's do this, and showed him like some sort of like non-final edit version.
That's cool. And it still had green screens in it.
Probably, but like...
I think they'd be pretty close by now.
Yeah, it's not long. It's only like a month away, so it was probably pretty...
Well, when was this?
Only like this week.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was probably pretty done. But I just heard in the article an unedited version.
They hadn't done the subtitles for the hearing impaired yet.
Yeah. Which ironically, he was deaf from the form of cancer that he had. That is not
That's right, he can lip read.
But yeah, that was really cool. That was a really cool thing that he did. But apparently that's not the first time, because J.J. Abrams also did that to a Star Trek fan who died like a week after he showed him Into Darkness.
The important thing here is that all of those films are actually worth going through that for.
Yes, because that's like, spoiler for fanboys, which isn't the best movie. It's sort of funny for people that don't know Star Wars that much, but for people that do know Star Wars, these guys who are supposedly big Star Wars fanboys, it just doesn't come off as like being like hardcore fanboy enough.
Which, with that name and that premise, you need to be like overkill.
It feels kind of like, they don't have all the research down. Like they didn't get
which is unfortunate.
It's not a terrible movie, but it could have been a lot better. But yeah, it's literally like at the very end of the movie, they get him, like he gets to see Phantom Menace, and it's starting. Oh no, that's right. He's seen it. The guy gets to see it early, and then they have to wait until it actually comes out. Like with the lines with everybody else when it was so hyped. And they sit down and the opening crawl starts, and they're like, what if it's not good? And that's like how the movie ends. And it's like, yeah.
Because who could imagine that?
Because that movie, like, wasn't good. But it's like, oh, who can imagine? This new Star Wars movie looks good because it takes everything that the original trilogy did that made Star Wars good and is like following that formula instead of just doing the random shit that the prequel trilogy did that was completely out of nowhere, uneven, and stupid.
Like what George Lucas had been dreaming about for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Have you seen, there's a video I watched recently, it's pretty funny. It focuses on the lightsaber duel towards the end, and it goes through, like slows it down and keyframes it and shows how ridiculous it's really funny. He says like, this is how you fight so you don't get injured. Deliberately don't hit your opponent, and then he shows like a swing that like doesn't even go close to him.
There's a really stupid part in that final fight. I thought that
fight actually looks pretty good when you watch it.
It does look pretty good, but they're like,
when he slowed it down, it just looks ridiculous.
Well, yeah, because they like rehearsed that one. Like that got like the fights in the first movie are like awesome, but they're like half the speed that final fight is in episode 3. Like they're going so fast with that fight.
Yeah.
And some of it's really dumb. Like one of the parts where they're like, I think they're both standing on the table and they're both just like spinning their lightsabers around back and forwards, like left to right. And both of them are doing the exact same action and none of their swords are like hitting each other or the swords are clashing. It's just like, it just goes for like 5 seconds. You're like, that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
It's because they're so close to hitting each other's swords because the goal of a swords fight is obviously to hit swords.
Yeah. That's something that, like, the best thing to take out of the prequel trilogy is, like, Qui-Gon and the lightsaber fights. And Darth Maul. Darth Maul's badass.
If only more had been done there.
Well, there has been, which I don't like about Darth Maul, which is that in the canon, it's like, no, he survived and they gave him, like, a robot lower half.
That's ridiculous. He got cut in half and fell down a fucking tube.
Yeah, I know.
But the dark side, David.
The dark side.
Who has destroyed the Master of the Apprentice.
Exactly. That's the rule of 2, created by Darth Bane, which is one of the like most popular Star Wars books that are all not canon
now
anymore.
Not canon.
But that Darth Bane book was written by the guy who wrote Knights of the Old Republic and Mass Effect.
Who is a very, very competent writer.
He is a very competent writer. Like, he wrote... I've heard that the Mass Effect novels are really good as well, that he wrote.
I didn't realize there were Mass Effect novels.
Yes, there are. I think there's like 3.
Did you hear about the Witcher movie?
Yes, they're
plan?
making a Witcher movie, which...
and then like a TV series to follow it.
What?
Is it? I haven't heard about
That's
the TV
what I
series.
heard. I think, yeah.
Maybe you might be missing, because in the IGN article it talks about them making the movie. But there's also a bit at the end. It talks about that there was originally a Polish movie that was made that then was later released as a TV series.
I don't know.
So it might just be that, because I only heard about the movie.
I heard
which-
it's going to be based on the third game.
No, I heard that it's not based on the third game. But I heard that it's based on the
We've heard
books.
very conflicting reports.
I read
reports
from a couple of different websites, from the video game websites that I read that it's like based on the books, not the games. The CD Projekt Red isn't involved, but it's sort of weird because this studio that's producing it, that I don't know their name, they did like the Mummy franchise, but then they're co-producing it with a Polish company. So I'm not sure if it's going to all be in English or not, or whether it's produced for Polish people first. But the guy that is directing it, he's like an Oscar-nominated person for something, but he directed Witcher cinematics for some of the games.
Ooh.
So I'm like, that's interesting, because there are some really good cinematic trailers. There was a pre-rendered cinematic trailer for The Witcher 3 that I totally missed and didn't see until a couple of weeks ago. And it's just like this woman that's like cursed or something.
Hadn't you seen that?
No, I hadn't seen that one, and that's so good.
It's so good.
Geralt's face looks a little bit different in that trailer than like how he looks in the game, which is a little bit funny, but that trailer was amazing. Like, it looked like those really awesome Old Republic pre-rendered trailers for that MMO, and it's just like, I would like to see a feature-length movie like this, because that animation style is so pleasing and nice. It's not going for super realistic. It looks like
niceness.
Yeah, it's really pretty, and it looks like super detailed and amazing and beautiful and awesome, but not trying to be like, this person's real. It's like, no, this person's animated and they look cool. So yeah, if it's like the bloke that like did those sort of ones, or like if you did like that opening cutscene for The Witcher 2 or something, it's like, that's really cool. If they can do that in live action, that'll be cool.
But with trying to do a live action Witcher film is going to be, which story do you pick to do? Because you can only really do one, but they won't do that. Instead, they'll try and do like a normal film story where you find out about the character and then there's like...
So I've heard that they're going to try that, like that they're hoping to make it the first in a series. So if that was the case, they could just adapt the novels, because they would definitely need to do some editing of the novels to give it a stronger introduction of the characters.
Yeah.
If it's not including the short story ones, but like, that's what those novels are. They are legit like just a regular story that isn't like, because like if they were going to be doing the short story books, like a TV series would be much better. Which is sort of weird, because that's what that Polish movie was. They basically just did a movie adaptation of the first book, The Last Wish, and it was really bad. And then it didn't do well in the cinemas, and so then they like re-edited it into a TV series because it was just based off of all the short stories. So they just cut it up into like 7 episodes
and broadcast that.
Yeah, so nice. I like watched a couple of the episodes of the TV series version, and it was not good. It wasn't good. That's the issue with live action, is like, who are they going to get to play Geralt, and is he going to look the part and sound the part? Because like, he looks awesome in the games, and I love the voice actor, and that is like Geralt to me. And when I've read the books, after hearing him, like, there's nothing that I read in the books that I'm like, oh, that doesn't seem to match. And that's why, like, that was the only downside to listening to the audiobooks that were totally competent, awesome audiobooks in their own right, but they didn't get like the voice actors from the games, which I would have loved, because the only reason those audiobooks were produced was because of the popularity of the games.
Yeah.
So it would have been cool if they had like at least Geralt
who had to do tons and tons of recording to be able to make the game. So why not, just while hanging out in the office,
Yeah,
knock over the books.
the books. Yeah, it would be sweet as. But yeah. So like, I'm looking forward to that. They want to release the first one in 2017.
Yeah.
Which is a bit funny because it's like for a big epic fantasy CG heavy movie.
Got a year and a bit.
Yeah, like a year and a bit. That doesn't seem very feasible, but we'll see.
There was a Warcraft trailer as well.
There was that
Teaser.
only the 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a teaser for the actual one that they showed at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
I watched that 15 seconds. It looks interesting.
Mm.
I'm excited. I'm not a big like
No.
Warcraft person at all, but
I love Warcraft 2. I played the shit out of that.
yeah, I played a lot of Warcraft 3. That was fun. I respect like that Warcraft fantasy thing. Like,
It's a real World of Warcraft movie, though, I think, isn't it?
it's just called Warcraft, but I think it is based off the World of Warcraft story more than the Warcraft games. But it all sort of just blends into each other anyway. Like, it looks like they've got that visual look of Warcraft in that 15 seconds. Yeah, it's like this movie is gonna like trying to be like the next sort of Lord of the Rings thing in scale and like how big it could be, which is cool, and it's got the potential to. But it's totally like, it looks varied enough. It doesn't look like generic other fantasy movies that are about. It has that Blizzard art design to it still,
Yeah, it did.
which is cool. And I'm it's interested to see that like blend of CG, sort of motion capture thing with the orcs and stuff like that they're doing. That's exciting. And Duncan Jones is directing it, who did Moon and Source Code.
Oh, wow.
That's why he hasn't been doing a movie since forever, because he's been working on Warcraft for ages.
Wow.
That's awesome.
But I also just heard that he's releasing, like, he did a movie after wrapping Warcraft, and it's going to actually release before it.
Well, yeah.
Because of, similar to like Avatar, how Sam Worthington shot Terminator after Avatar, but it came out first because of the post-production was so long in Avatar. So yeah, he's directed this other movie that it's a sci-fi movie, and it stars Paul Rudd. So
Oh, wow.
I'm like,
I'm in.
and like, yeah, Duncan Jones, if I'm getting his name right, he's awesome.
He wanted to do like 3 sci-fis and then move on to another genre entirely.
That's really cool.
And he's doing Warcraft.
So it's sort of like Nolan's artistic trilogy, where it was like he had his Dark Knight trilogy, and then he had the other trilogy that was like part of the deal that he got to, like, every second movie he did his own one, and he did Prestige, Inception, and then Interstellar. And they're like a sort of trilogy in the way that like the movie deal worked.
And now what's he going to do?
I don't know.
I heard recently they talked about a release date for his next movie, but it doesn't even it doesn't even have a title. It doesn't even they don't even know anything about it, but they gave like a release window and people got excited. It's like, that's so funny.
It's sort of like, that's more common now, where they have to like tell release windows, just because like everyone,
like the Marvel movies are like have their release windows until like 2030 or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
Which is nice,
so now
plan.
it is just like, everyone's got like every single year planned out for like 10 years now. They need to say like, we're going to do it here, and it's going to be in this month or whatever.
And then means the further out you plan it, it's then harder for the other companies to be like, oh, well, I suppose, do we want to be up against Thor?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe pick an easier target. Oh, they're doing a Black Widow movie like 6 months later. Let's bring it out then.
I reckon the Black Widow would actually do better than like Thor 3. The Thor movies have been pretty hit and miss with people. Like, some people like it, but some people really don't like Thor movies.
True. I was thinking you meant like hit and miss, like one was good, one wasn't. But
no, I mean like sort of like divisive. Like, some people really like them and some people really don't like them.
Yeah. Unlike Captain America.
Well, most people didn't like the first one. But everyone's like, oh yeah, Captain America 2, that's like one of the best of all of the Marvel movies. Yeah. And Cap 3 looks like it's going to be pretty cool.
And then everyone reminisces about Iron Man 1.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that is a seriously good movie. I watched Avengers 2, and I totally enjoyed that.
I find the Avengers films visually boring.
Yeah, I can... That's fair enough.
That's my only complaint, really. Like, they're so polished in every other way, and then you're just like, it's just like generic coverage.
It is pretty generic coverage. There isn't much of a what do you call it? Can't think of the word. Those things that we got taught.
Cinematography?
Yeah, it's sort of like that, but it's like it's about the framing, but it's more about like don't worry. Don't worry.
It's overmade.
It's too late. It's too late.
It's too far.
I liked Ultron as a villain. I thought he was really good.
That's true.
That like I think the easiest way to go like, oh look, this is an AI that's believably an AI is just give him a personality. Like he played him like any character as he voice acted it, and then it's a robot. So it's like he's got a sense of humor, like he has likes and dislikes.
I think they
that makes it a
handled
really
well,
easy, believable that it's like, oh look, he's an AI.
Yeah. Without it being shitty, like fake science. You just kind of like are happy to accept it. Whereas I think
there was a couple of bits that was sort of like what I bagged on Chappie, where when they're trying to create Ultron and in the montage, there's just the sort of like, typing on a keyboard, compiling, failed. And they're like, damn it, let's retry it. And you're just like, yeah, you've just got computer software that's just like failed to create AI. And it's like, oh, you can define what that is even though we don't know how to create it. Yeah. Cool.
Even though you don't know what you're making.
Exactly.
Oh, we'll use bits of Jarvis.
I liked the vision. He was really cool. Yes. I liked that it was like, oh yeah, I know that Jarvis's voice actor was that actor that whole time. And so then when he actually showed up, you're like, hey, they actually used him. It makes so much sense.
Hi, Paul Bettany.
And he, his makeup looked really cool.
It was cool.
Really cool. He looked totally not human.
I'm assuming he's paid now.
Was he not paid before?
He was not paid in Iron Man.
What? Oh, that's right. I remember he wasn't credited.
Yeah. Just as a favour.
Yeah, I remember that Jarvis wasn't credited for one or two movies.
Whoever the director is, I've forgotten now.
Yeah,
Jon Favreau.
Yeah, Jon Favreau.
And
then was massively popular.
I love it when he's like, oh, but like, the beauty of humans is that they don't last forever. And then he's like, you're so naive. And he's like, perhaps, but I was born yesterday. I just love it. That was a good line. Yeah, like besides sort of what you said, which I probably agree is like the sort of like pretty average coverage and stuff like that. Yeah. Nothing particularly like snazzy or
I don't know,
distinctive about the style. That was like everything I wanted from an Avengers movie. Like it's not a standalone movie.
No.
So like, yeah, the pacing and sort of the flow of it's a bit different to just like a movie that's completely self-contained, but you're like, no, I expect this from this movie because it is the one where they just shove them all together and it focuses more on Black Widow and Hulk and Hawkeye because they're the ones that don't have their own movies, which is good.
Yeah.
I liked the Hawkeye stuff that was
he's got a secret hidden family.
Who's Lindsay from Freaks and Geeks and Velma from the Scooby-Doo movie. Yeah. She's an awesome actress. But no, I didn't like Hawkeye much in the first movie. But I actually liked when they did go, oh, look, he's got those wife and kids and
whereas
stuff.
What they hinted at with Black Widow was kind of like weird.
Yeah, I didn't mind it though. I liked the relationship that she was getting on with the Hulk.
That was nice. That was
good. Because it's like everyone was like, oh, her and Hawkeye. And then it's like, well, no, Hawkeye has this family.
Sorry.
Because that's the thing. Like, he's the dude that, like, she's this fucked up Russian trained assassin that's had this shitty, like, childhood where she's been, like,
indoctrinated.
Yeah.
And trained and all this stuff.
And then all the other people are like crazy superheroes. Like, Hawkeye is one of the only ones that is just like, yeah, he's just the dude.
He's got a family.
He's just like an army dude, but he uses a bow and arrow instead of a gun.
For some random
reason that he's like, I'm fucking using a bow and arrow.
I really like
He
Rambo.
even says that. He's like, this is weird. But yeah, so like, yeah, embracing that, being like, no, he is the average Joe of the group. he's got the wife and kids in the home to go home to was cool. And that his wife was like, yeah, that's why they need you in the team, because you are this more human element where they're just like these gods that like don't.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's cool. I like that element.
I'm not sure where I sat on the whole playing with Thor's hammer thing.
I liked that. I liked that in the end that the Vision could.
In the end, with the payoff,
The payoff was good. It was sort of, I don't know, that was kind of funny where they're just having a party and like all of Cap's friends are just like World War II vets that are really old, and Stan Lee's one of them and stuff. That was cool.
That was a nice Stanley appearance.
Was it Cap that did he shift it a little bit, or what was that? No. What am I thinking of? That someone shifted it a little bit.
I thought it was Cap that pulled it, and Thor's thought he was about to and was worried.
Yeah, that's something like that happened. Anyway.
Or maybe.
Anyway.
Paid more attention.
That was funny. Yeah. And then, but yeah, then that all, yeah, it was a bit like Force where they were like, oh, let's all try lifting Thor's hammer. But in the end, when he was just like, I just need you guys to trust me, let's go. And he just hands in the hammer. It's just like, oh, he's worthy of the power of Thor. Like, we should, that's end of discussion.
Maybe it was just that it was overplayed when they first did it. Like going to get the suits, but not the whole suit. Just the hand, which is like the least useful piece.
Yes, it's like that would still like rip your arm off at the elbow.
You'd need to be wearing the whole suit,
yes,
for it to function.
Unless like they can like jetpack, like they've got like a rocket on the hand. But they didn't. We saw it and they didn't. So no, that didn't make sense. It was dumb. But yeah, I thought it was like, I don't know. I feel like it's as good as the first one. Like it's very different than the first Avengers, but rewatching the first Avengers
was more like, oh, let's bring together these people.
Yeah, and like I think the rewatchability of the first Avengers isn't as good because it is very like, oh, we're getting it all together, and there is more setup and stuff. Where like the second one is just like, oh well, yeah, let's just chuck a bunch of fun scenes together. Where it's just like, oh, here's a bunch of cool action and a bunch of funny scenes where they're,
you already know the characters, guys. We'll just skip over that.
Yeah. Pretty much. Now all I need to do is see Ant-Man. I think that's the only one I haven't seen now. Yeah.
From next week, my schedule is play Fallout during the day and then Halo 5 at night.
Yep.
Pretty much.
I think that's going to be mine as well.
It's going to be good.
Won't talk too much about Halo 5 because I haven't finished the campaign. So I reckon like next month, talk about Halo 5, and we'll have lots of playtime with our Elite controllers.
Yes.
To talk about. That's always fun. But yeah, other than that, I think I'm about done. I'm about ready for bed.
Yup.
See you in a month.
Peace.